Well, you said yourself at the start of the segment that he's being accused of relationships with teenagers. Now, to me, that's not accurate, and in fact, it's following in the narrative that the Post tried to set up.
But it is teenagers. It's a 14-year-old, a 16-year-old, and I think two 18-year-olds. They're teenagers.
The 16-year-old and the 18-year-old have no business in that story because those are women of legal age of consent.
She was very young to have somebody who's that age come on her, let alone if it was an unwanted touching known as an assault.
You know, in 1973, Ringo Starr hit #1 on the Billboard charts with the song You're 16, You're Beautiful in Your Mind, and it was a remake of an earlier song. He was 30-something at the time singing about a 16-year-old. You want to take away Ringo Starr's...
You can't be serious.
I mean...
You can't be serious.
You can't be serious. You're talking about relationships that were legal.
You think that Ringo Starr's song is supposed to be a nod towards allowing 30-year-old men to prey on teenagers? You don't believe that, Joel.
Dean, are you okay with, if he did this, that it was okay for a man in his 30s to be dating teenagers?
Now, what I'm okay with is Judge Moore made it perfectly clear. If he did date a teenager, he didn't know about it. So I can't tell you how many times I've been on a date and didn't ask a girl how old she was, especially after I asked her mama if I could date them.
One of the jobs of journalists is to not just take an Academy Award performance at face value. You need to dig into the facts.
30
and
people
one of the facts in the
corroborated her story who knew Roy Moore between 1977
actually, they did
and
not.
1982.
The
they
collaboration,
did,
we need to make it clear.
Post.
Poppy, we need to make it clear that there's a group of non-accusers that have not accused the judge of any sexual misconduct or anything illegal.
You make this argument that there wasn't a law against sexual abuse in Alabama back in the 70s. So I just want to, let me ask, are you saying that because there wouldn't have been a law, according to you, that would have made it okay back then?
No, I'm not. I mean, if Roy Moore committed a sin, that's a sin and that's not good. But we're not talking about an actual crime here that's prosecutable in 2017.
And we found that this was on the books going back to 77 and would have been considered sexual abuse in the second degree. Care to respond?
Which is a misdemeanor in Alabama.
Does that make it okay?
If I'm correct. No. But again, if, Roy Moore had stolen a lawnmower when he was 21, that's bad. But that's not a reason 50 years later to all of a sudden, throw him off the ballot or let Mitch McConnell pick the next senator of Alabama.
If Roy Moore doesn't remember, how could he say that it's definitively false? And number two, why would he need permission from any of these girls' mothers if they weren't underage?
Sure, that's a good question. And culturally speaking, I would say there's differences. I looked up Allie's background there. Wow, that's awesome that you have got such a diverse background. It's really cool to read through that. But point is this,
what does Allie's
each culture
background
has
have to do with dating a 14-year-old?
I'm not finished with the context of it.
Well, please answer. What does Allie Velsh's background have to do with dating children, 14-year-old girls?
Sure. In other countries, there's arrangement through parents for what we would refer to as consensual marriage. So
Allie's from Canada.
I understand that.
I mean, if you look at what is really going on, and you look at all the things that have happened over the last 48 hours, he totally denies it. He says it didn't happen. And, you have to listen to him also. You're talking about, he said 40 years ago this did not happen. So, I can tell you for a fact, we do not need somebody that's going to be bad on crime, bad on borders, bad with the military, bad for the Second Amendment.